What's going on, guys? Today we're taking a look at a motherboard from ASRock. It is their X79 Extreme6-GB, and the GB stands for Game Blaster. They do have another Extreme 6, which is their flagship board, but this one is a little bit different, so let's take a look. The box on the X79 Extreme6-GB is pretty plain. There is, the logo right here. There is some information on the front. It says Game Blaster inside. PCI Express 3.0 compatible with Windows 7. Supports Intel Core i7 processors. Supports Intel Core processors. And of course Intel's X79 chipset. And ASRock's X-Fast RAM. On the back here, if we flip it over, it kind of goes over the board in detail, and it goes over a lot of the features like the Game Blaster, X-Fast RAM, X-Fast LAN, X-Fast USB, and all of the other features on the motherboard. So if you're at the store, you can really get a good idea of what's inside here. Now if we open this up, should be pretty simple here. Get everything in the picture there. We do have the Game Blaster in its own box, which we're going to get into in a second. We have a 2-port front USB hub right here. It's USB 3.0 with the USB 3.0 connector in there. We have, looks like, two SATA 6 gig cables. We should have 2 more SATA 6 gig cables. And looks like we have another single SATA 6 gig cable. So that's 2, 4, 5 total. In here, this looks like, open this up, your 3-way SLI bridge. You can open it up here. Your 3-way SLI bridge right there. You have this adapter. Looks like for USB ports, I would assume. In here, not really sure what this is. Open this up. Okay, this is your 2-way SLI bridge. Really small in there. We have our setup guide. And we have our quick installation guide. And inside of here we also do have our I/O shield. And our actually installation CD with all our drivers and utilities on it. And under here, we actually have the board itself. The ASRock Game Blaster is what really sets this apart from the ASRock X79 Extreme 6. The Game Blaster is a simple sound card, but it also has gigabit LAN built into it as well. So if we open it up here, pretty small, it's a PCI Express device. And we can get it open here. And 7.1 sound by Creative. You can see it right here. Very, very cool. Small little PCI Express device. You see these on a lot of higher end motherboards as well. You can see you have your 7.1 channel sound there, optical and everything. And then you have your Broadcom gigabit LAN built in as well. So it's very, very cool little device. Kind of gives you, more of the edge. Especially if you're a gamer and you want better sound, you don't want the built-in sound on the motherboard, you can use this. Very, very cool. Taking a look at the board here, you can see that ASRock has gone with a primarily all black design. Almost all the components on the board are black, and then you do have some silver accents across the board, but primarily it is all black. Another thing you might notice is all of the capacitors on the board are gold capped, which is of course going to increase lifespan. They're all Japanese capacitors, so that's one thing that you don't see in a lot of other motherboards, so you are seeing it here on this ASRock board. Now we're going to move up here, and of course in the center of the board is the Intel 2011 socket right there, and up top you guys can see right there is the 8-pin CPU power connector, and it's weird to see it right here in the actual middle of the board. Usually we see it more towards over here, but ASRock has put it more towards the center. You have 2 fan connectors. You have a 4-pin CPU fan connector, and then you have a 3-pin optional fan connector. And I like to see both right here, just for the fact that a lot of higher end CPU coolers use multiple fans and you want to control those fans individually, so you can connect two fans right there. You do have all 8 DIMMs here for your memory, and they're not color coded, which I would have liked to see, because if you're installing only 4 memory DIMMs, you would do them every other one, and a lot of people may not know that. They just might want to put all 4 here. Of course, that's not going to work, so you have to install every other one, so having them color coded would have been nice. You can see the power phase design here. It is a 12 plus 2 plus 1 power phase design, and you can see the heatsink right here on top of the VRMs. On the side of the board, you do have your 24-pin ATX power connector, and again, it's more towards the top of the board. Usually we see this towards the middle of the board, but it's actually pretty high, close to the top. You have a SATA 6 gig connector here, and this is going to be used for maybe your eSATA connection on your case or something like that. You do have a USB 3.0 connector right here. Moving down are all of your SATA connectors, and they're in the 90-degree fashion that we like to see, because if your video cards are long and are going to extend past here, you're going to want to be able to plug and unplug your SATA cables easily without having to remove, of course, your video card. So they're labeled gray and black, and the gray ones are SATA 6 gig and the black ones are SATA 3 gig. Moving along the bottom of the board, you do have this 4-pin fan connector right here, and then you have another 3-pin fan connector. You have your power and reset buttons, and I always like to see those on motherboards, just because if you're troubleshooting or something like that, it just makes it really easy to start and restart your system. You have your front panel connectors right here, and you have a debug LED. Again, this is really great, especially if you're troubleshooting. If the system doesn't boot up or if it's stuck somewhere, this is going to display a code, and then you can look that up and kind of find out what's going on with the motherboard. You have 1, 2, 3 sets of USB 2.0 headers. You have your FireWire header right here, and you have your COM port, and finally you have your HD audio header right there. As far as expansion slots go, you have 1, 2, 3 PCI Express X16 slots. You have a single PCI Express X1 slot, and you have 2 legacy PCI slots. Now, if you need extra power for these slots, there is a Molex connection right there. I would have liked to seen a SATA connector somewhere, maybe on the side over here, but they do not have that. Also, if you're running more than 2 video cards, the top 2 will always run at 16x, and the third one will always run at 8x. Also to note, there is a cooling fan here on the X79 chipset chip right there, and of course a large heatsink. Taking a look at the rear panel on the motherboard, you do have 2 PS2 ports right here, one for keyboard and one for mouse. It's really weird to see. Usually you just have one that's kind of a dual slot, but you do have 2 here. You have your clear CMOS button, which is a great thing to see, especially when you need to really easily just reset your CMOS if you're overclocking or doing something along those lines. You have optical audio out and coaxial audio out. You have 4 USB 3.0 ports, gigabit Ethernet, 2 USB 2.0 ports, 2 more USB 2.0 ports, FireWire, eSATA, and 7.1 channel audio. So this concludes our unboxing video of the ASRock X79 Extreme6-GB motherboard. Check back very soon on ThinkComputers.org for the full written review. And remember, if you like our unboxing videos, why don't you subscribe? Catch you guys later.